Hello, and welcome to our final weekly recap of the Home Plus Smart Home System. Last week, we were reviewed by our peers. Here you can see our second peer reviews. Last week, we also learned about Z notation. So this week, we decided to focus on incorporating these two new features into our final deliverable. First, we discussed all reviews we received, and we narrowed down possible considerations to those that we believed we could accomplish in our final days. I say this because some recommendations were deemed to be too complex for the time remaining, but they are worth a mention here. I detailed them down here in our weekly recap. If we were to have more time with this project, we would have liked to develop a domain model in particular. Tracing back up to incorporating Z notation. We incorporated statements into our use case templates where we deemed applicable. Switching over to the SRS document. We can see a couple of those statements here. First, we state that there must exist a user who has access. We also state that there must exist a user who has been authenticated. That would be a precondition to be able to control the temperature using the Smart Hub. Scrolling down to Manage Locks, we can see our next Z notation. This one was done on a variation. The variation was that the lock is automatically opened by smartphone proximity and the user opens the door. This states that there must exist a user with lock proximity, and then Smart Lock will unlock. Moving on. Our next review consideration was with our vision document, where we were asked to expand on our applicable standards. You can see that we have expanded on those from last week. Last week we simply stated very simple applicable standards. Moving on to our final review consideration. We had an individual request that we modify our volatility numbers so that not all of them were either 0% or 25%. So we went through and we detailed, depending on which the requirement was and which smart device it pertained to, as to what those volatilities could be. You can see those new volatilities here in the SDP document. Many of them went up in volatility, very few stayed as they were. Moving back to our site, all of these decisions were made in a group discussion last Friday. All individuals attended, and we divided up responsibilities among the group. Loose communications were held throughout the week on Slack. Currently, we are on progress and ready to submit our final deliverable by tonight. Our current diagrams and documents are as they were last week in the same locations. Thank you for your time.